to?
I love Spain. I love food. I love the food.
Yeah, but
I'm a foodie.
we're talking about the prog.
You can see I'm a foodie. Well, I'm in the music industry as in my job, but from and that has changed a lot. But from a band perspective, from our perspective as Gazpacho, I don't know if it's actually if it changed that much, to be honest, because we're not affected in the same way, in my opinion, when it comes to people stopping buying albums and just streaming instead. I don't think we've noticed a decrease in sales.
No, there's been no decrease in sales. I think that the only, in terms of the band, then I think in the last 15 years there's been an influx of an amazing access to music, which means that every day I'm sure that if you're into any genre of music, there's probably 20 or 30 albums that basically sort of interest you that are released every day if you're wide and varied in your taste. And this I think is in some sense made music cheap, in the sense that back when, at least when I was a kid, I don't know about you because you look so young and beautiful, but back when I was a kid, then you got your pocket money and you go buy an LP, and then you had 2 weeks, you listened to that LP, and you had no money for anything else. That means that you really tried to like that album, because if you didn't like it, that would mean that you made a bad decision and a bad buy, and you had time to give that album a chance, and you'd listen to the whole album.
Until you liked it.
Until you liked it, because you better damn well like it, or else you feel like an idiot. So I think now, I can remember when the new Roger Waters album was released, maybe it was a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. And I've been a huge Roger Waters fan. On the last album, Amused to Death, I thought was amazing. And I remember just listening to that, and I gave it a couple of spins and thought it was okay. And then I just let it continue and into the stream of other stuff I listened to. So I think that music has become cheaper. And this means if you're going to release music into this massive music that's being released, you need to have a good excuse for why you are doing that, because there's really no screaming, desperate need for more music in this world.
Well, the question was whether it affected our music or our work in any way as a band, and no. Definitely not. I mean, we last number I heard was on YouTube. There's 800 hours of new content being uploaded every minute. So there's the production of content and entertainment, if you will, is so massive, and the noise is so immense. So you have to keep trusting what you do to yourself, and then hopefully, as we always have, hopefully find an audience for it that will actually listen to us and stay with us on our evolution, you know.
It started when the guitar player and I were at my summer house. We were playing around with making music, and we saw a boat that was out on the Oslo fjord, white sail on the blue background, and it was a summer day, and it was a very beautiful moment. And we thought, hey, let's try and write a song based on that feeling, and then we realized that music itself is probably trying to freeze something in time. And music is playing with time itself. It's something that happens in a time span. And then it dawned upon us that there was no way that we could try to describe such a moment, but there was no way we could do that perfectly or give it any justice in any way. And that's when we started playing around with that idea musically. And then when Jan Henrik and I got involved and started writing lyrics, and a nice place to start as well, where the original story was someone who decided to jump off time, who was on this train of time moving along, and then he decides that he wants to jump off time because the future doesn't look too good, and he's found a sort of a station or a moment that he likes, and he wants to stay within that moment. And the songs on the album are various sort of aspects and us playing around with that idea.
Being frozen in time or trying to capture a moment and stay there.
It's usually the other way around. Usually we make tunes. Jan Henrik comes in and he writes his melodies just using gibberish lyrics and just words he makes up, and it could be anything.
We sometimes keep those words, by the way, or sentences. But yeah, it's normally just gibberish, and from there we kind of mold the concept or find the what is this about? What does this feel like it's about? When on Night it was different because we kind of knew beforehand. On TikTok it was different because we knew beforehand. Same with Demon and Moloch. But we throw tons and tons and tons of ideas out. We have hours of music that could have been on those albums, or was parts being taken out of Dream of Stone or Death Room or Moloch Rising, or the rock themes being taken out because it takes out kind of the linear or the flow of the tracks and the albums. And we have changed on the way as well. So we thought that the album was about this, and then it changed into being slightly different underway. Like as we went along, it's not a formula that we can just like stick to and follow and do every time.
Well, we always get these very strange demos with sometimes it's very moody and sorrowful or very strong musical pieces. And then you've got this guy
especially vocal pieces, always very strong.
And then you've got this guy singing about something which is completely crazy and unrelated to itself. So it becomes a very mysterious demo, and part of the fun is listening to that and trying to figure out what the hell is this about. And then once you sort of think you hear something, then you can pull something away, and then your mind will continue to expand, and then as it matures in the mind, then something crystallizes. And then only at the end do we know if it's good or if it's bad, and only at the end do we really know what it's about. And I'm sure that if we were to sit down now and listen to all the Gazpacho albums, then I'm sure Jan Henrik's views of what the songs were about would be different from mine, because the songs are made so it's for the listener to dream his own life or her own life into the songs. So there's no standard sort of cheat sheet to what the songs are about. But at the same time, we try to keep to a concept on the albums because there has to be a continuity in the story, and they have to make internal sense. Definitely. On the album, there's a sample of an old Bollywood single, because there's a song called Sky Burial, which is about a guy who's lost in the Himalayas, is trekking in the Himalayas and gets lost. And we used a piece of old Bollywood music because that's probably the kind of stuff that would be going on in the radios of the search parties. The song is about a guy whose parents are waiting for him back home, frozen in time, waiting for a word from their son.
It's a true story, actually.
It's a true story.
It's an actual guy, yeah.
And we've added our oldest recording of the human voice, which is from an old sample archive that I had, which is from, I don't know if it's called a gramophone, but some kind of old recording from the 1860s of someone singing Au clair de la lune. I'm sorry, pardon my French.
Au clair.
I've always wanted to say pardon my French.
You often have to say.
I often have to say, and we always had sound effects because sounds are part of music, but they're part of life. And we also see Gazpacho recordings more as, and this sounds horrible, I know how bad this sounds, but more like sort of sound sculptures as opposed to recordings of a band playing music.
Mm.
So Gazpacho is not a band in the normal sense of the word where you can get 5 guys, or in our case 6 guys, and play a song. It's more something, it's a lot more layered. And we do add, whatever we can add that's weird, we add. If it adds to the feeling of making the recording feel special. We haven't consciously strived towards making, mesmerizing soundscapes, but they do tend to come frequently when we're jamming around or having fun in the studio. And it's a great way to start a song because there's a lot of freedom on one of these hypnotic long soundscapes. There's a lot of freedom to play around and experiment. But no, it's not a conscious thing that we do, but I think we end up there a lot of time, and I can't answer why that happens. But I do know that there's different music is made for different situations. You've got dance music, you've got elevator music and music for restaurants, and you've got whatever the hell hip-hop is for. I haven't figured that out yet. But Gazpacho music is music which is supposed to sort of allow you a mental space for you to be inside your own mind for a while. Mm. And I suppose that these hypnotic soundscapes are probably the best vehicle for creating that kind of place where you can be within yourself.
Something along the lines of music like we've been writing since Night and a few songs before that, I guess, and also music like from Godspeed You Black Emperor or Sigur Rós in my case. That music is for my me time. It feels like much more than some snappy stuff tuned to sing along to or dance to or whatever. It feels like if we can make music that will take someone's personally more in a way that lets them invest themselves more into it or figure out themselves more while listening to it, then that would kind of be a goal more than to just make another tune for entertainment. So it's me time, not as in me, but as in you know. I think it's like a really, really well-functioning marriage in the way that if I respect what you're all about and understand that and it's mutual, then we're going to have a good marriage. We quarrel very, very little over these things because we understand when Thomas has written this or wants to take this direction, the rest of us are kind of we respect that and want to know why, and there is an explanation, and once that's in, it gives the rest of us something to think about, and like, oh yeah, then I can add this, and I agree, and that would this kind of fit what you're thinking about, and vice versa as well. If I want the melody to or the music to take a direction because I'm going here now vocally, then Thomas will happily rewrite the next bit to cater to that, right? So it's working very well collaboration-wise when it comes to music. Yeah, the whole creation process. Don't you agree, Thomas?
No, sure.
Like an old couple. Happily married, yes.
Man is a genius, and he's always been given the demos. And remember, in many cases we're talking about those demos which we mentioned earlier, which is idiocy,
which is idiocy and genius combined,
and some general ideas on the concept. Other times he gets the lyrics, which aren't necessarily on the demos, and it may still be the old demos, but now with lyrics as we progress with the lyrics. And then he will interpret the album through his crazy Spanish mind. No, his beautiful Spanish mind. And sometimes we can be open about this. Sometimes the artwork will also hit back and make us rethink the lyrics because the guy's interpretation of the songs and the way they make him feel. And if you know Antonio, then you know he's all heart. It's definitely he's like the seventh member of the band in terms of full freedom, and he always comes with something unique and something we love. We have sometimes asked him to change things, but that will only be in cases where, you know, little details or we don't think this picture fits or whatever. But basically, the man is on his own, we can take no credit whatsoever for his stuff. And in fact, I think probably the other way, he could take some of the credit for some of the music. That's how deep our respect for him is, and our love for him. You can find it on his website, which is...
He sells art.
And how do you find this?
It's on antoniosehascours.com, I think. Well, look it up, Google him, you know.
And he's going to become more and more valuable, so buy it now while it's still affordable. So how do you feel?
I love Spain. I love food. I love the food.
Yeah, but we're talking about the prog.
You can see I'm a foodie.
Yeah.
No, it's a privilege. It's an absolute privilege to play that festival. I think it's me who has probably said most often that I don't feel we're prog. But then again, I've had to bite my own tongue as well, because in many respects we are. But we are not prog in the traditional interpretation that many prog heads will say, no, that's not prog. Rush is prog, or Camel is prog, or Old Genesis. And if it's not, unless it's in that specific vein of music, then it's not prog to me. Kind of. You have a lot of camps in prog. Then you have other people who say that anything from us to Radiohead to Muse is prog, and other people will very, very roughly oppose to that and say that no, that's pop, and that's the arty-farty pop, and that's this kind of pop, and that is art rock or art pop or avant-garde or whatever, but it's not prog. It's an eternal discussion. And to me personally, prog is the first stuff I mentioned, as in the older bands, and in especially Rush, Camel, and Lamb Lies Down, and Selling England and stuff. If a festival wants to invite us, I don't care if it's called the Flute Players Convention of Australia. If they feel that Gazpacho kind of fits the bill, or is a good ingredient in the soup.
Hint, Australian flute players.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. We want to play Sydney, please. The Opera House would be nice. Then we're thrilled and privileged to play there, and we love lots of bands playing festivals like that, and that's it really. It's actually the end of the discussion, because I don't care which genre people think we are, as long as they enjoy it, and if they enjoy us alongside bands that are definitely called prog bands, then thumbs up. I'm in.
No, I've never thought of
No, I will not take that seriously. Oh, sorry.
But now that you mention it, I'm thinking about it. So I think that would be a very special thing to do, and I'm sure we'd lose quite dramatically. But
yes.
maybe
spectacularly, we would fail. It's a fun question. I do admit that some of our stuff is poppy, maybe not that poppy, not Euro poppy, no, but you never know. But that first Make a Song or Make a Star, or was it Make a Star?
Make a Star.
That was for fun. I mean, at the time when that happened, Thomas and John and I met in the studio after work every single Friday, wrote a song, then met up with the girls and the guys and got drunk every Friday, listening, then going back to Thomas's place after doing Oslo, back to Thomas's place, listening to today's song that we recorded. That's what we did back then. So it was John who entered us into that Make a Star thing just for fun, and we did really well on the first one. So I think we joined with 2.
I can't remember the details, but
Nemo and Sea of Tranquility. So yeah, we had to. It was just like kind of lick my ego kind of thing to do. It wasn't serious as such. I guess it was. We needed some form of validation from the outside whether or not this was anything.
Was it good? Was it good, or was it just bad? And we needed to find out if it had all worked. And that, I think, of course, the contest it had no meaning whatsoever, and it was just a waste of time. But it did sort of make us think that maybe there was some value to this that went beyond our little universe of us in the studio and us getting drunk at home listening to the stuff. And I suppose that little push and that boost of confidence certainly helped us at least put in the energy to continue, because as we've noticed, being in a band is a shitload of work, and it takes over your life in many ways, and it requires you to spend a lot of your, what I suppose you could call free time, working. And if you're going to do that, then it's nice to know that you're not just wasting your own time, you're wasting everyone else's time as well. That would be the ultimate bummer.
We really hope to see as many as possible of every European who likes Gazpacho, or every American who wants to travel over to see our gigs this summer, and at the Be Prog Festival, and in Oslo later in June, and really hope to see you on the road.
Well, that applies to every European aged 18 to 85 is welcome and expected, and we'll be cooking, and we'll get everything nice and lined up for him or her. So we expect to see you all, and the Americans if you want to come, and the Australian flute players as well.